Hi there, I'm Mr. Foreman.
And I'm Summer.
And on this mission, we're making our way up to Shark Bay for some exploration and some fishing. Shark Bay is situated in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia. It is a World Heritage Site and also the westernmost point of Australia.
Our first stop is to view some ancient life forms.
We're here at Hamlin Pool to have a look at Stromatolites. These rocky formations are the result of a blue-green algae that first appeared on Earth 3.5 billion years ago. Sand and silt sticks to the algae, creating layers. In the shallow waters, they become mat-like lumps, while in the deeper water, columns are formed. Hamlin Pool in Shark Bay is one of the only places remaining in the world where living stromatolites can still be found.
We're here on Shell Beach, which is made almost entirely out of these, which are the shells of the carded cockle. The cockles are one of the few organisms that truly thrive in the hypersalinated waters of Laharidan Bight. Having no predators in this environment has helped them to dominate. Their shells have been washed ashore and have accumulated to depths of between 5 and 10 meters.
One of the other few organisms living in these seemingly lifeless seas is a little more sinister than a cockle. The olive-headed sea snake is a curious creature that will approach swimmers. Although they are highly venomous, they are rarely aggressive. This fellow seems oblivious to our presence and more interested in what might be lurking in one of the many small burrows littering the sea floor. What we have here is a view off Eagle Bluff showing the shallow water of Shark Bay. The darker waters out there are Sea Meadows. Apparently this place supports the largest sea meadows anywhere in the world, and that supports a large population of a marine mammal called dugong. These sea meadows cover a considerable area in the Shark Bay region. Shark Bay is largely protected by ocean currents. The low rainfall and lack of runoff allows for clear, calm, shallow waters, perfect for the prolific growth of these grasses. Sea grasses are not like seaweed, which is an algae. Instead, they are more similar to terrestrial plants and can flower and pollinate underwater. The meadows offer important habitat and food resource to many of Shark Bay's aquatic denizens.
About 10% of the world's endangered dugong population live in Shark Bay. These large herbivores grow to around 3.3 meters and weigh up to 250 kilograms. Their main predators here are the large tiger sharks, as they are protected from hunting by man. Dugongs are close relatives of the manatee. An obvious difference between the two is their tail flukes. Paddle-like on a manatee, more like a dolphin on the dugong.
From atop Eagle Bluff, looking down into the crystal clear shallows usually offers good wildlife viewing opportunities. Eagle rays cruising happily above the sand. Sharks are a fairly common sight, as one would expect, considering the place is called Shark Bay, named so by explorer and pirate William Dampier in 1699. There is no shortage of stingrays and schools of small fish.
Little estuary systems like this fill up on high tide and are a good place for marine wildlife. And not marine wildlife. A small flock of emus are taking advantage of the shallow waters for a little cooling off and a cleanup. Small Shovelnose Rays are also fond of the location, basking in the shallows. Safe from larger, more horrible things. Stingrays like to hang out in these areas also, as there are plenty of small fish to make a meal of.
Nighttime in the shallow waters can be quite perilous, especially if you are a little fish. One has fallen prey to a nasty squid, and its future looks quite bleak. Along the beach, the ghost crab dominates. Nothing, diminutive or dead, is safe. Even a fallen moth is savagely attacked and devoured. So after a delicious meal of moth, it is important to remember to give your eyes a good wipe over.
The remote township of Denham is Shark Bay's big smoke. With a population of about 600 people, Denham serves as the administrative center for the Shark Bay region and gateway for the multitudes of tourists who flock to the area.
Denham has several service stations. The silver gull enjoys a drink from a soapy water trough before flying off to join his companions out on somebody's luxury yacht, which they have been using as a latrine. This resident osprey is enjoying a tasty raw fish, proof there might be something for me to catch out in these waters.
Just out of Denham is Ocean Park Aquarium, where visitors are treated to a number of small attractions. But it's the fish and shark feeds in the two larger pools which are the real draw. Most of the fish compete feverishly for handouts, but one particularly grumpy fellow isn't pleased about the notion of expending energy. Then comes the shark feeding in the big pond. Though it's not just the sharks that are competing for small filleted morsels of bone and bits of skin. Lurking about with the sharks are cobia, trevally, and estuary cod. Anyone interested in learning more about the fascinating and dangerous aquatic life of Shark Bay would do well to partake in this small but info-packed tour.
It's time to launch the Interceptor, 3.5 metre not-so-fearsome vessel of the not-so-high seas.
Mr. Foreman has had his skipper's ticket for the better part of a week now and is keen to use his extensive experience in locating the best shark fishing grounds.
Our first cast of the trip, a morsel of squid on a hook. And we're on! The thing seems to pull like a train and landed. Our first catch, and it's a monster. Already our burley bucket has attracted several sharks. It's time to launch out another chunk of squid. In zooms the first shark, and then he's on the hook. A mighty battle ensues. Observe the proficiency of the angler as he fumbles about that rod. The man-eater has made a spectacular breach. Then he's in, and about to be landed. Oh bugger, he's off. Surely, he must have been near on 14 foot.
Monkey Maya is 23 kilometers northeast of Denham and is famous for the frequent visits of habituated bottlenose dolphins, attracted by the promise of food. Every morning at 7:45 a.m., tourists gather on the beach as the dolphins arrive. The feeding is nowadays strictly regulated by the park staff to protect the dolphins. It has been found that there was a high mortality rate of baby dolphins due to neglect by parents hanging around for handouts. Physical contact with the dolphins is also discouraged. Monkey Maya started out as a fishing and pearling base. It was back in the 1960s when a fisherman and his wife began feeding the dolphins. This saw Monkey Maya escalate into a major tourist attraction.
We've encountered some mechanical problems. We have a hairline crack in the housing for the oil filter. So we discovered that yesterday before going into remote country, and luckily overnight with TNT priority A class we have a new housing. So we're going to try to install that. The tiny crack's in here somewhere. It's always a bit scary having a tinker about trying to fix things on your own, especially when one is not gifted with any natural mechanical ability, but try one must to keep the expedition rolling. With our mechanical issues seemingly sorted, we find ourselves at the gates to the Francois Peron National Park, and summer is signing us in. Then a short way up the track is the tyre deflation station. We're at the start of the Francois Peron bloody four-wheel drive track. So we've got to deflate our tyres because it gets boggy. We've gotten sophisticated since our last mission. These little things here. Automatic tyre deflation units. So that should be exciting. You screw them on, and as soon as it's gone down to the desired pressure, it stops. You take them off.
The road ahead to the Cape Peron Peninsula may not be the most difficult track we've tackled, yet it does get quite soft in a few spots, and a four-wheel drive vehicle is a must. The Red Cliffs of Cape Peron Peninsula. The place is a popular hangout for waterbirds, multitudes of cormorants, terns, and gulls. Just around the corner, a boardwalk leads to Skipjack Point and several lookouts. From here are excellent views along the rugged coastline. And also down into the clear waters. There's always a good chance of spotting something of interest, such as this obscure blob beneath the water, which appears to be a turtle. And you don't have to be too lucky for a shark sighting.
Wilms, what are we having for dinner?
I was thinking chicken stew, so why don't you get the chicken legs out of the freezer?
The ones wrapped in the bloody deli thing.
That's the one.
And amazingly, they're not even right at the bottom. Now these are also frozen solid.
Not a problem. Since we spent the whole day driving, the engine's nice and hot. And therefore, perfect place to thaw out the chicken.
I'm trying my hand at a bit of beach fishing. Safer, I reckon. No one in their right mind would swim in these dangerous waters. A nasty sandpipery thing has a fish carcass and is bullying the surrounding fauna. He's off to beat somebody up, but hasn't looked behind him as a shifty gull moves in on the prize. With a bully about, it's best to stay near your burrow. Our friend the gull is on the move. The bully's back. Best to take cover. Bully is off again and Timmy the crab sees his chance. But it is a big fish. From another angle maybe. Run!
This time we see Cape Peron from the water aboard the Interceptor. Our objective is to reach the other side where our illustrious skipper believes all the giant fish will be. We do have quite an audience as we pass by.
Finally we arrive at our chosen fishing location. According to my well-attuned senses, there will be swarms of fish here. Our fish finder seems to agree. Here we are, under the cliffs at Skipjack Point, and we're to start off with a soft plastic. Cast out. Jig a little. And we're on already. Our first catch of the day is a legal-sized flathead. This one will go into the cold box for dinner tonight. going to do now is go and try and catch some of these gar fish that have been brought in by the burley bucket. Wham! Oh, they love it, these fish. A slow retrieve with a little twitch. Slow retrieve, little twitch. They just can't help themselves. It's like a person walking past McDonald's. It's gonna happen. Ah, here we go. And that's a yellowfin black spot.
The fishing is running hot with one monstrous creature after another.
Fellow's a tar wine. Some sort of snapper. Alright, this is the blue-lined emperor. Fellow's hand colour. Hello.
The nasty tusk fish.
In trouble.
They are on the bite from such fury they'll be jumping in the boat in no time.
An unexpected visitor. I'm trying to lure a spotted eagle ray closer to the boat. The creature's curious and circling around, but not interested in any morsel I may be offering.
It's time to stop messing about with tiddlers and go for the real big stuff. We're casting out with a shiny lump of steel with hooks on. And in no time at all, we've hooked on to perhaps the world's biggest fish. We need to steer him onto the other side of the boat. We're blocked by an anchor rope. Around to the stern. Big pile of rods and line. You never want to have an organised and clutter-free vessel because that would make things far too easy. Ooh, and we've landed him. By far the world's biggest fish. And here he is. Fight like the blazes. Spectacular. Someone tried to tell me this fish is a trevally, but I think it's some kind of a whale.
And that concludes our fishing excursion. After a bit of angling, checking out some living fossils, fraternizing with friendly dolphins, tackling four-wheel drive tracks, and encountering some of the incredible wildlife in and around Shark Bay, our adventures come to an end. For now, Shark Bay still has plenty to offer, but we'll save that for another day.
Here, Pink Snapper has the final word, letting us know what he thinks of fishermen. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.